Hey, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be our third video for the Porsche Vaillant car, the 934. So I'm trying to keep these videos down to about a half an hour. So a lot of what I'm going to be doing I'm not going to show. We're just going to kind of show a lot of assembly in this chassis because I want to get the chassis done in this video. But for this section I did want to show you, first of all, how good does that chassis look? That super matte, that just came out great, right? Not the super matte, the honey matte, sorry. That was my mistake, but you can see how nice that is, how uniform all that satin finish is. That looks great. So we got that done. So next we're gonna start spraying some of the detail parts. For that, I'm gonna be doing the silver. And I wanna show you this real quick, because this is a tip I've tried to talk about before, but realistically it's a lot better if you can show it in action than just trying to explain it. So I have turned the air pressure down on my compressor to, I don't know, looks like I'm spraying about 10 psi. I mean, you can hear it in the airbrush how much less paint I'm spraying out. So as I've said before, the less pressure you use, the less paint should spray out. So yeah, so that's beautiful. So I'm using the silver on this because these trailing arms are all aluminum, and any car built in the 70s, you're still getting a lot of the rough aluminum. It turns that kind of grayish color after a while. And none of the cars I researched when I looked at these, they ever really do much to those arms. They just kind of left them. They'd clean them up so they'd look good. They'd look like that, but they wouldn't have, it wouldn't be super shiny aluminum. And I really like my silver to be that kind of flat aluminum. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do the motor in that. And like I said, at the 10 psi, you're not really running too much of a risk of blowing a lot of paint underneath the tape, and you're certainly not running the risk of knocking the tape off. You don't want to, if you're spraying a lot of air pressure, there's a chance it might lift the tape up a little bit. Not much of one, but it's still there. Okay. That is beautiful. That is exactly how the gearboxes and the motor blocks looked on the research I did. So yeah, that's perfect. So just have to paint that semi-gloss black and then do the detail work on the rest of this. So I'm going to shut this down. I'm going to do all the paint work and some of the detail stuff on the rest of these parts, and then I'll come back and we'll start getting this thing put together. Okay, so we have done a lot of detail work on this. I got the motor completely detailed out. That is looking fantastic. Painted the push-rod tubes in the gold. Painted the frame, the rear engine mount, I guess it would be technically front of the motor if you do it traditionally, but on the Porsches it would be back. So got the back engine mount painted. Painted the sump, so that looks really good. Did the weathering on the engine mostly just to draw out the details, not to really make it look used. I want this thing to look brand new. So that brings us up to step number 1. I already took and did the photo etch part on the radiator there. You can see how good that looks. I did one of the oil coolers. I'm going to do the other one right here. I want to show you how I did that. Just a little dab of glue on the glue stick here, and then just kind of leave a real thin real thin bit on there. And then the way these are etched, the one side, I don't know if you can see that or not, you can see kind of the difference in the color and the mesh, and then if you flip it over, it's just all straight. Oh, I just dropped that. Let me grab that. All right, so as I was saying, you want to do that with the kind of that flat side facing out, because you want that kind of three-dimensionality to it. Okay, cool, huh? Oh. Took me too long to find that grill. I gotta redo this thing. It's fine, and that's a lot of the reason why you don't want to just start globbing on glue. Kind of want that to just line up on the bottom. And that side, make sure everything's all nice and square. It looks good. Okay. Okay, so that's just, I just detailed those out with the aluminum. And then just, yeah, painted it with the aluminum and then just detailed them out with that. So easy peasy. So let's see here. I'm gonna put some glue right here. Okay, and then this goes in just like that. Okay, and there's your first part done, it looks like. And then the two stub axles, or the two half shafts, and we'll be done with step one here. So on the half shafts, so I looked all this stuff up. I spent a lot of time researching all of this. So the half shafts were kind of a pain. This was the easiest way I could figure out to do them. I saw a set like this. I really liked it. So you have where it goes into the transmission, and that's a whole separate set. And then you got the boots, and then you got the shaft itself, which runs to your two CV joints. So what I did was I did this gearing connector where the CV portion of it moves in and out. I did that just gloss black because that's what a lot of them are. And then I did the boots in our rubber black, of course, to make them look like rubber. And then I just did our steel over the shaft itself just to give a little more color. One of the things I always worry about when I build these models is I'm always worried that I'm not putting enough colors on stuff, and especially the underbodies and chassis of cars, because a lot of stuff on those just gets used as is, like however it gets delivered to whoever's working on it, they're just done with it. They don't care. They're just going to use it as it is. So you know, if it's natural steel, if it's natural rubber, if it's painted pink and gray, whatever, you know, really they don't, and then nobody cares. It's fine. Let's just chuck it on the car and be done with it. And one of the great things about the Porsche like this, if you were doing a restoration on it, you know, you have a lot of leeway in decision making here, because there's a lot of different places working on these cars, and everybody does just a little bit different. And then of course, because they are what they are, a lot of places will just do them however you want them done. Okay, so we're actually going to skip step 2 right here, and we're just going to move on to step 3. And you remember this from earlier in the video? Because you might not recognize it now. So I detailed all that out. So the tubes here are where the torsion bar springs mount through. And then these arms swing down with the other A-arm, with the other portion of the swing arm. Sorry, not A-arm, the swing arm. And then they got the brace plate right there that holds everything together on this end of it. And then you got the two swing arms, which is super cool. These cars are so fantastic. I'm a huge European car guy. I used to own a Jaguar, had a 69 E-Type. Loved that thing, it was all original. Actually, I'll tell this story real quick. I got it from a friend of mine. It was her father's. I was looking at a Corvette. It was a 99 hardtop Corvette. And I was talking to her and she went, my dad has the car you want. And I actually didn't know that much about Jags at the time. And so I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. Yeah. So I ended up getting a super screaming good deal on it. And then owned it from 2001 and then sold it in 2016, somewhere around there. Yeah, just amazing car, super fun, but I'm really huge into the European models now, so I do know a lot about them, but like I said, I didn't know much about the Porsches, and honestly, they are, you know, what you would expect for, you know, 60s, 70s cars, kind of dead simple, dependable, exceedingly well engineered. So these swing arms were fun because, like everything else on them, you know, you can do a lot of different stuff. So I did that in the silver like I showed earlier, and then I noticed a lot of guys were doing these plates on the side. They were just gloss black. And then of course they bolt together. Chassis components on most cars, gold because they're grade 8 bolts. And then these caps, I don't know if you can see that or not, but these caps right here are, you could get those in anything. But I saw one that they'd re-zinc coated them and they were bright and they just looked amazing. So I thought that would set off the car really well. Okay, so that's in. Plus it's kind of how they call it out in here. So I liked that. I'm not going to put the brakes on right now. We'll come back and do that in a second. I want to get all the parts done from everything. To be honest, I've been working on this a while and I'm just super excited to see everything go together. Okay, so next up would be the turbo, which actually, yeah. So these things took forever to research, so there are a lot of different things going on here, but I finished up with this. So I did our rubber black, because that's a hose. Then I did aluminum for the intake side, for the fresh air side of the turbo. Then the spacer on it, they're always dark, so I just painted my black. And then I did just a cast iron color for the exhaust side of the turbo. And then I did the exhaust in a decanted chrome paint. I didn't want it super shiny, but I wanted it to look really metallic, look brand new. So what I really want is I really want the car to look like, you know, they did the restoration on it and then they pulled it off, you know, took it and did all the dyno work with it. So I did the exhaust a little bit like it was used, but I still wanted to keep it looking brand new. So I wanted to look like they got it all done, did the dyno, put it in the car, maybe did a chassis dyno on it after that, and then came back and, you know, gave their seal of approval and pushed it onto the trailer. So there's that. Excuse me. So the shocks, I did silver everywhere, and then just did the coilover springs with black magic marker, because that works really good and it makes them look good. Nice and shiny, they look good like that. So, speaking of that Corvette, I was looking at buying. So that was 2001. So I ended up buying the Jag, and then I got a job working for TSA at the Salt Lake International Airport in 2002. So that summer, we're standing out at the SkyCap booth doing security stuff, and this guy pulls up in a 99 Corvette hardtop. I mean, I swear it was the car I was looking at. It was silver, had the same interior, you know, it was just, I swear it's exactly the same car. So I'm all excited, and I go up to him and I'm like, hey, wow, you know, I love this car, blah, blah, blah. And the guy's kind of giving me the eye like I'm a jerk. And I said, where'd you get it? And he looks me up and down like I'm the world's biggest moron. And he goes, I got it at the dealership. And I was like, oh, okay. I said, yeah, but which one? I was looking at one of these before I bought my Jag. And the guy just glares at me and he goes, the Chevy dealership. And I was like, oh God, give me a break. So I'm like, whatever. So he gets done dropping his wife off at SkyCap, and he gets in the Corvette. Right before he sits down in it, he turns around and looks me right in the face like he is just something special. He jumps in the car, fires it up, unloads the clutch to do a burnout in front of me, and he kills it. We all had a good laugh at that. Okay, there's the blow-off valve. So these are actually pretty interesting too, the blow-off valve and stuff. So the valve itself I did in steel, and then I did the same exhaust color for the valve, for the exhaust port and stuff on it. And then these are flex pipe, so they're strap band, and then that's flexible, so that's all silver. And then I just did the burn exhaust on the end of it there. Sorry if I wasn't talking so much about something else, I'd have got to that a little sooner. So we'll just come in and put just little dobs of glue all over these little spots here where they're going to glue together. Okay. Oh yeah, there we go. Look at that. So that's it's actually pretty accurate to how they look in real life. I got a couple of spots I need to touch up, I can see. Nothing too major, just normal modeling. If you want to make something really nice, you're always kind of coming back and messing with it. But man, that looks so good. Holy cow. Nah, beautiful. Love it. Okay, so that's step 3 and 4. Well, 4. Okay, so Now let's move this stuff out of the way here a little bit. And what do we got left? We got to do the sway bar on here. We got to do the brakes, which we're going to do later a little bit. Well, we'll do that. Well, let's do the brakes. So all I did on the brakes was I made up this cast iron color for the calipers, and then I just painted all the rotor and stuff silver. I did that for two reasons. One is the rotors, every time I saw them online, I don't know if they're just promo pics or what, but they're just silver. They don't have any real difference to them until they've been used for a while. So I just didn't see where I needed to be doing a whole heck of a lot with that. And then, which brings me to part number two, especially on these backs. I mean, you know, you're going to see what, that much of them, and then the wheel's going to cover the rest of it. So you're really not going to see them. So, I mean, I already spent an hour and a half fixing those coilovers for the spring. So I put enough time into it. I just kind of quickly jumped through that because I know you can buy them, and basically that's what would pop out of the box when you bought it. So I just did that. Kind of cheesied it, but it seemed okay. There we go. I was almost thinking of not putting the poly caps in there because I don't really necessarily want the tires to turn. And I was a little afraid of pushing the tire up against the suspension parts because I don't want to be messing anything up come that final step either. But these seem to be okay. Everything on this thing's like super solid. I'm actually really happy with it. So yeah, these are interesting. So they use a torsion bar that runs from that cap on the swing arm all the way across, and then in the race cars they put the coilover shocks on them so you could tune the shock and the spring to give you a little bit more spring rate and a little bit more tunability, which is actually super great idea. Okay, so there's those. Let's see. Let me scoot this stuff out of the road here. I'm deathly afraid of knocking that glue onto something. Okay, so let's see where we're at here. Yeah, we got the brakes done. So brakes and swing arm, that's step 3. We just got that. That's 4. So I guess we gotta set all this aside here and get working on step number 2, which I'll get to right now. Okay, I had a couple more things that I had to finish up on this I didn't realize, but now everything's all completely detailed out and we're ready to finish off the first part of this. I'm gonna start with doing the rear sway bar, which is easy enough. And, you know, I mean, honestly, it's a Tamiya kit, so it's not a real brain teaser in general. Okay, that's on, looks good. So now we got to do the front suspension here. So this is what I ended up doing. I know originally I think the spindles were Bilstein green, but I found a place online that did these as a race prep, and they painted them yellow, which I liked. So yellow, did the shock in the silver like I did with the rear shocks, and then the coilover spring itself in the black, just like the back. So it kind of kept that continuity going. And then I did the ball joint for the steering arm there. I put that on there in semi-gloss black just to kind of give it a little bit of a different coloring there. So make sure I got this done right. It's kind of pointing down. Clips on nice. Okay. Yeah, look at that. That really brought some color to that front suspension. That looks good. I like that. I really like that. Okay, just set that in there. Let me mark that off. And then we got to put actually I'm going to do this way. Okay, and that should be fine there. Okay, there's that. Okay, there's that. Okay. Okay. Okay, and then the front tires track straight, back tires track straight. Haha. Ah, that is beautiful. I love it. Yeah. So on these, they're a torsion bar in the front end too. So your control arm here, your lower A arm. So this mounts solid to the car, and then your arm pushes into there, like that's where the bushing's at, and then it comes out, and then the end of the torsion bar sits right here, and that's a bar that runs all the way across. It's everything I found, they were, I don't know if they were aluminum or if they were silver, just silver, like zinc plated, but that's how they were, everything I saw on them. So that's how I did mine. I just detailed out the ends. And then again, with the race cars, you had the coilovers that gave you the option of tuning the front suspension, same way as the back. So it's pretty interesting. These are interesting cars. Okay. And then the caliper faces forward, and the whatever that is, the air vent thing or something, I actually don't know what that is, but that faces toward the back. So okay, so anyway, let's get that on there. Oh yeah, that looks so good. Okay. Okay, and same exact deal on this side. Okay. All right, so the chassis is done. Give you a close-up of that. You can see how good that front suspension looks. That yellow definitely brought a lot of color to that, which I really like. That exhaust system looks just too much. That thing's too great. And all that shiny black all looks like everything's been redone, you know, detailed out. Looks really good. Looks really, really good. I wish that green showed up better on screen, but it's fine. Okay, so let's mark all this off. Okay. All right, chassis is done, and that's going to do it for this video. I'm not going to do the tires and wheels yet because I'd have to do a lot of detailing on those, and then I want to try to do something to get the Goodyear decals to look a little better. I'm not 100% sure what yet, so that's going to get kicked down the road, of course. So next up, I guess, is going to be the interior, which, as you can see, is just it's a few parts, nothing major. Semi-gloss black. I'm gonna do BL1 for the interior, and then I'm gonna hit it with the honey matte, so it'll have the same sheen as the chassis. And then the roll cage is all gonna be gloss black. And then we'll do something cool on the dash, and I'll show you all that in the next video. So if you've watched all of this so far, thanks for watching. As always, go to scalefinishes.com, use the code YouTube10. You know, we got race car colors, we got interior colors, we've got detail colors, just generic black colors, whatever. If you want it, we got it. And then also we're selling some of the tools right now. We have these. Well, as of November 24, we have these tweezers. Those we have on sale. We also have the sanding sticks, sanding pads, bunch of stuff. Get on the website, check it out, scalefinishes.com. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.